In order to support Canadian workers, we will temporarily waive the 1-week employment insurance waiting period. So in other words, if people are displaced...
Canadian grain producers are strongly applauding a recent trade victory for the United States, seeing it as a crucial win for the entire North American agricultural sector. Welcome viewers to my channel. Please subscribe, like my video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. The decision, which upholds the trade of genetically modified, GM, crops, is being celebrated on both sides of the border because it sets a critical precedent for future commerce. The Canada Grains Council, CGC, the national organization representing the Canadian grain, oilseed, pulse, and special crop sectors, released a statement that underscored the importance of the ruling. The CGC emphasized that predictable and science-based trade rules are the foundation of a stable and secure food supply across North America. This view highlights a shared understanding that reliable trade depends on shared principles, not on political whim. The dispute originated with a 2023 decree from Mexico's presidential administration. This measure was a significant blow to established agricultural trade practices, as it included a complete ban on the use of GM corn and dough and tortillas, which are staples of the Mexican diet. The decree also proposed a phased reduction of GM corn for use in animal feed and other food applications, with the long-term goal of a total phase-out. These actions were met with alarm by both the U.S. and Canada, as they were not supported by any credible scientific evidence. The measures were seen as a direct challenge to the fundamental principles of free and fair trade enshrined in the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA. The USMCA dispute and its far-reaching implications. With strong support from Canada as a third party, the U.S. formally challenged the decree under the terms of the USMCA Trade Pact. The U.S. argued that Mexico's restrictions were arbitrary, lacked scientific justification, and thus violated the agreement's provisions that require trade barriers to be based on sound science. The USMCA dispute panel, after a comprehensive review of the case, delivered a decisive ruling that sided squarely with the U.S. The panel concluded that the measures taken by Mexico were inconsistent with several provisions of the trade agreement. The panel's recommendation was unequivocal. Mexico must bring its measures into conformity with its obligations under the pact. This ruling is a powerful affirmation of the USMCA's commitment to science-based trade and reinforces the legal framework that underpins North American commerce. The outcome of this case holds immense significance for the United States, as Mexico is its single largest corn market. In 2023, U.S. corn exports to Mexico were valued at an astounding $3.5 billion. The U.S. supplies more than 95% of Mexico's annual corn imports, making this trade relationship vital for the American agricultural sector. The panel's decision protects this crucial export market and provides essential stability for U.S. corn producers. The ruling ensures that farmers will not be blindsided by non-scientific trade barriers, allowing them to make long-term plans for their crops and investments with greater confidence. This predictability is essential for a high-cost, high-volume industry like corn farming. While Canada does not typically export large quantities of corn to Mexico, the country is still an incredibly important market for other Canadian agricultural goods. For instance, Canadian exports of canola and canola products to Mexico totaled approximately $1 billion in 2023. Consequently, the Canadian agricultural sector had a strong vested interest in the outcome of the dispute. A victory for science-based trade rules in the corn dispute sets a positive precedent for all of Canada's agricultural exports to the North American market, ensuring that future trade decisions will not be based on arbitrary or politically motivated justifications. This provides a sense of security for Canadian farmers and exporters across the board. A victory for farmers, innovators, and consumers alike. The sentiment of relief and approval was widely shared among key figures in the Canadian agricultural community. Krista Thomas, the CGC's Vice President of Trade Policy, Seed Innovation, highlighted the practical impact of the ruling on farmers. She stated, "For Canadian farmers and grain exporters, reliable access to international markets can mean the difference between success and failure. Thomas explained that when a major trading partner like Mexico veers away from science-based rules, it creates uncertainty for farmers who rely on GM crops to run their farms efficiently, stay profitable, and take care of the environment. This uncertainty can stifle investment in new technology and innovation, ultimately harming the entire food supply chain and making it more difficult to produce food sustainably and affordably. Chris Davison, President and CEO of the Canola Council of Canada, echoed this sentiment, expressing his pleasure to see that the USMCA dispute panel has reaffirmed the commitment to science and evidence-based policies that are required to help ensure predictable trade and market access in the North American market. The ruling is a victory not only for exporters, but also for the entire food supply chain, from seed developers to farmers and ultimately to consumers. It provides a level of certainty that allows farmers to make informed business decisions, invest in new technologies that improve crop yields and resilience, and plan their crops without the fear of sudden, unscientific trade barriers. This stability is fundamental to ensuring a stable food supply for millions of people. The USMCA panel's final report was officially issued on December 20th. Under the rules of the agreement, Mexico has a 45-day window from that date to comply with the panel's findings. This resolution is viewed as a major victory for everyone who depends on a stable and secure food supply across the continent, solidifying the principle that trade decisions should be grounded in sound science and not in arbitrary or politically motivated restrictions. The outcome provides a clear and powerful signal to all USMCA members that the rules of the agreement will be enforced, ensuring a more predictable, fair, and prosperous trading environment for years to come.